Munay Ki Rites are the 9 rites of initiation, which is where a person comes into the wisdom and power of more that they can create. They become what we call an earth keeper, so somebody who can help facilitate this world, can help bring us into a better place, can help others travel along that journey that they need to travel along. They were first brought over to the world, first found, first developed and brought over to the Americas by the first medicine men and women, which was over 30,000 years ago. And they were called the Laker. And they were called the Lakers, so they were the earth keepers of old. And these particular people, spiritual people, they didn't suddenly become spiritual. They developed it, they researched, they studied, they gained the knowledge, the grace and the power to become earth keepers, people of the old, people of the medicine world. And through the use of prayer, through the use of study, insights that they gained, and also discipline in how they lived, how they worked, and how they developed as an individual. And they believed, these particular earth keepers, the Laker, they believed that when the time was right for the individual or for the people who needed to help them on the path that they were on, they believed that the Munay Ki would be available for people when they were ready, when they received a calling to spirit to make a difference to the world, and also make a difference to their own life and the life journey and path that they're on, which for many of you and myself included, we find ourselves on now. So to receive the rites, to be initiated into the Munay Ki, it's what we call the next step in human evolution. So we've become who we are, and we're then developing on into another form. Our DNA can change, we can change past life traumas, we can change psychic issues that have been problematic for us, all through using the rites. So what the Munay Ki does is it clears what we call our luminous energy field. So the layers of our aura, the energy that we radiate, the light that we show to the world and to those who are around us in a physical aspect, as well as in a physical and spiritual way as well. So it clears what we call that psychic sludge from past life traumas and past life issues that we might have experienced before, as well as issues that have occurred during the lifetime we're in at the moment. So by receiving the rites and being initiated into the 9, it raises your vibrations. So it raises your vibrations so that the luminous beings who are around us in spirit can help guide us and give us a little bit more support. That might be through imagery, it might be through channeled messages, it might be through meditations. But once receiving the rites, it can alter how you are and how you live and work. So the rites, they tend to clear your chakras. And by clearing your chakras, it helps to give us the balance that we need in this world. And you acquire what we call a rainbow body. So it's a rainbow body of light that is created on the outside of you so that other people can see what you create, what you give out, and can be drawn to you so that they feel that they can make the difference themselves as well. So with the Munay Ki, they're what we call, the rites are what we call codes. So codes for the new human. And these codes are transmitted through the different rites that we can receive. They get transmitted into your luminous energy field so that it upgrades your DNA. It makes the difference, that it does shift out what you no longer need. So why are the rites important? Why will they help you? Why will they help you on a physical, emotional and a spiritual level? So they activate this luminous energy field that surrounds us, so that it gives out that light to those who might be on the same path and want to make the difference. So you find that more people are drawn to you who understand where you're going and where you're coming from as well. Also gives you the power to manifest and create. So the power to manifest what you want for yourself, and for you to then create everything that you need to move you further along. And it also transforms a life that maybe you feel is lacking. It's not giving you everything that you do need, and it creates that fullness that you then need in the life now. Also prepares us. It gives us spiritual changes. It prepares us to help more humans to create and manifest change in this world, so that we can make it a better place. So the Munay Ki, once you've received the rites, has 3 important practices. And those 3 important practices are sacred space, the breath, and also the fire ceremony. So we'll talk about the sacred space. You may have heard of sacred space before. You may already have your own sacred space, and you may have your own ceremonies and routines of creating it and keeping it sacred for you. But with the Munay Ki, if you are passing the rites on, especially if it's in a group of people, you tend to create that sacred space so that it's safe for you all to work in. Safe, it's calm, and it's sacred. And by that we can give a prayer, we can call in the 4 directions and also the earth and the heavens above, so that we can also connect, and we also connect with the archetypes. So with the Munay Ki we connect with the archetypes so that we can bring that all in and create that sacred space for all. But when you pass the rites on, once you've received them, you then need to open up your personal sacred space. And we do that with something called the Viracocha. And that's something that gets talked about and discussed further on in other places, and on the Munay Ki Rites workshops and development courses that we can do. Then we use the breath. The breath, as many of you probably already know, if you do breath work, if you do meditations, you find that the breath is very powerful. It's very grounding, it's very centering. So we use the breath, and we use the power of intention with our breath, because it just brings focus and thought as you pass the rites on. We then come to the fire ceremony. And the fire ceremony is something where you use, if you're lucky enough to have a fire pit, you can light a fire pit and use, but you can also just use a candle, so the fire from the flame of the candle. So once the rites have been placed and passed on to you, they then get placed into our luminous energy field, and they get placed here as an energetic seed. And then we need to use the use of light and the warmth from the fire to grow that seed, to allow it to develop to its full potential. So we then just use the fire in a ceremonial way to do that. Munay Ki has also got 5 guiding principles, and the reason behind this is it helps the seeds to continue to grow, so that you can then lay foundations for a new and improved world for yourself and for all of those around you. So those 5 principles are non-violence, truthfulness, integrity, moderation, and generosity. And each element there, each principle tends to connect with those of us who are empaths, because it's how we like to live our world anyway. It's how we like to work, breathe, live, and continue on with passing knowledge on to others as well. So just keep in mind those principles, because they do help to grow the seeds, they do help to make the difference. So when we pass the rites on, what we do, we enter into the sacred space. We then attune to the connection that we need to connect to the vibrational level of energy that we need to pass on. And we then transmit and pass that seed on to the next person. So the Munay Ki, they're what we call energetic keys, which allow us to develop our luminous energy field in our lifetime. It allows us to become earth keepers so that we can make a difference to all of those around us and our world. So the initiation rites, the actual 9 rites that you receive with the Munay Ki, they allow the luminous energy field to develop and transmit from body of the human. So the human body then develops into what we call the body of angels. So we become that light, we become that beam, so that those in the spirit world can actually notice our bubble of light that we show out to the spirit world. And as you receive these rites, it's the energetic info that's passed from, so energetic information rather than info, that's passed from the master to the student. So it's passing along the knowledge and the lineage of those luminous beings, those first medicine men and women of all those years ago, which were the Laika. So the Munay Ki is developing you as an individual so that you can then help focus on the world around you and make the difference.